Hey, what's up, you guys? Sound like Shane Dawson. Hey guys! I feel like that's what I say. That's my little signature, like, hey guys, what's up? Hey girls, hey team, hey Steph squad, that was lame, whatever. As you can see the title, I'm going to be telling my rudest, craziest, and most bizarre retail customer stories because I just think they're too good to keep to myself and my friends. I feel like I need to tell people. Before I go on, I would just like to say that retail is not all bad. I've had some amazing customers. I've had customers bring me coffee. I've had customers, like, that's not all bad, I promise. But some days people are in a bad mood. So for everybody I'm talking about, maybe it just wasn't their day. Maybe something happened or they just needed to let their anger out somehow and they chose me. I wish they didn't, but they did. So I've worked in retail for about 7 years now, and I've bounced, well, not even just retail. I bounced around from retail stores. I worked at a pharmacy. I was a waitress. I've catered festivals. I've done it all. I hate waitressing, by the way. Waitresses don't get enough credit. Waiters, waitresses, food servers, anything. Just anything being on your feet 24/7 and having to carry stuff, like, tip your waiters and waitresses. While I'm talking about waitressing, I was waitressing at a diner I worked at. I did not last that long at the diner because I couldn't stand waitressing. So I worked there for about a month. And one night, no, it was a day. It was a Sunday morning. So it was breakfast. And it was crazy because it was a diner. And I was hosting that day. So I was just sitting people at their tables, bringing them drinks. And that's about it. And really, that's it. It was a really easy day. I handed the menus to these people, and it was like a family, I guess. I can't really remember. And I go, you're gonna love whatever you order, like the waitress little spiel, like, your waitress will be with you. And this man, grown ass man, turns to me and says, can I have you on the menu? I'm just like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Just kidding. I don't even know what to say. I just walk away and I'm like, I go to the other hostess. I'm like, I'm not going back to that table. It was really uncomfortable and weird. And like, I know I'm 21. I think I was about 19 at the time of this. But if you look at me, there's no denying I probably look 16 or 17 years old. I work at this big corporation right now. I'm not going to say the name, but one time I was working and one of my coworkers answered the phone and put the person on hold and forgot. And then my coworker clocked out because their shift was done. So I go, oh my God, this person's been on hold for like 15 minutes. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello, this is Stephanie. How can I help you? This man was so angry. He was on hold for 15 minutes. He started screaming at me, started calling me names, started saying our service is terrible. And I'm like, on the other end, just listening, but like, I didn't answer the phone. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm here to help you now. Like, if you want to speak to a manager, that's fine. And then he puts his phone on speaker, and him and his friend start taking turns screaming at me, saying I'm terrible and I'm a bitch and everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I think I just hung up. Like, I got so flustered. I was like, oh my God, they're just screaming at me. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna hang up. They'll call back. I'm not gonna answer. I want to say on the first or second day of my job that I just started, I was working in the self-checkout area. And this man comes up to me and he has blood all over his face. And let me remind you, this was when I was working the opening shift. So it was probably about like between 7 and 9 a.m. And you could tell he was on something, like drunk, on drugs or something, and he had blood all over his face. And he comes up to me and he's like, where are the mirrors? I'm like, where are the mirrors, to one of my coworkers, because I just started and I didn't know what to do. And I call like security and I'm like, there's a guy walking around the store with blood on his face. And they're like, and I'm like, this is the weird first day. Another time, while I was working at the pharmacy I worked at, I loved that job so much. And if it would work with my life and my schedule and my needs, I would still be there because it was the best job ever. It was my first job, and I worked there for 5-6 years maybe. I can't remember. I think it was 5 years. This woman comes in, and she's with her daughter, and she's like an older woman, not like old, but like a mom, and then her daughter's probably a little older than me. And I'm standing there waiting for her script to get filled, just watching, because I'm supposed to watch people when they're in the store, no matter what. And she comes up to me and she's like, "Are you pregnant?" And I look at her and I go, "No." And she goes, "Your nose is swollen. You're pregnant." And I said, "No, this is just my nose." And she goes, I have a feeling about these things. I could tell when my daughter was pregnant." And her daughter, who's with her, goes, "Yeah, she could tell before I was pregnant. You're probably pregnant." And I'm standing there and I'm like, "I'm not pregnant. I know I'm not pregnant." And she's like, "No, you should probably take a test. You're pregnant." And I was like, what is this woman saying to me? And I was about 16. So at the time I was like, "I'm pregnant. She knows I'm pregnant." I wasn't pregnant. But how do you just go up to somebody and tell them they're pregnant because their nose is swollen? No, miss, I just have a big ass nose. Here is my big shebang story about probably the craziest customer interaction I've had in my entire life. Probably the craziest interaction I've had with another human being in my entire life. So at the store I work at, you can order things online and you can pick them up. So you go to the desk, you hand them your ID, you look up the order, and then you go get the order. So somebody I knew, somebody who was related to my friend's boyfriend came up, and they have the same last name, and it's not a very common last name. So I was like, "Oh my God, are you related to so-and-so and so?" And we started talking. And then I went to get his order. It was a really big order, so it took me about like 10 minutes. Terrible timing, but he was cool with it. By the time I got back, there was so many customers. And they were everywhere. There was no line, there was no organization, there was nothing. They were just swarming the desk that I needed to get to. There's these two men standing in front of my register. And I go, "Can you move?" And I could have been nicer. I could have said, "Excuse me." I don't like saying that though, because it literally makes me feel like I farted and I'm saying "excuse me." I could have been nicer. I'm not going to deny that. But I didn't say it in a rude way. I just said it because, one, I'm stressed the hell out. There's so many customers. I need to get to it. I need to sign this guy out and he needs to leave. So I say, "Can you move?" And this older man, I'm going to mention that he's black only because it plays into the story. It doesn't matter his race, but it comes in later. He was so offended that I said, "Can you move?" He started yelling at me right away. And I ignored him because my job is to get this customer out and get the next one. So I'm like, "You can come up here and sign out." And they assumed that I only waited on this man because he was the only white man in line and that he was my friend. He was not my friend. I just happened to find out he was related to my friend's boyfriend right there. And my friend's boyfriend was home from the military, so I told him, "Hey, so-and-so is home from the military. Like, in case you didn't know, you can see him." Started screaming at me, and he started calling me a bitch. He started calling me racist. He started calling me like every name in the book. And I'm trying to ignore him because you ignore them, it doesn't matter. And everybody at the desk is watching. One of my coworkers just wants to get these two men out of here because I guess everybody can see how flustered I'm getting. He's like going off on me, calling me rude. "You don't tell a grown man the move," and all of this stuff. And yes, I could have been nicer, but he blew it so out of proportion. When my coworker took them, he started saying stuff about me to my coworker, like she should get fired, she's a bitch, all this stuff. And my coworker's like, "No, she's a really nice person, blah, blah, blah." And then that's when they started saying I was racist and I only waited on the only white man in line. And I was like, "You have no idea what happened. They've been here for like 20 minutes. Like I've been waiting on them since you even got here." So I can't take it anymore. I feel like I'm about to burst out crying. So I go, "Okay, I'm leaving." And I'm just going to leave the desk until they're gone and calm down. When I say I'm leaving, this man, not the man who was yelling at me, his little sidekick, looks me dead in the eye and says, "Good. I'm tired of looking at your face anyway." I stood there for about 0.2 seconds and then I reacted. My coworker, everybody's like, whoa. And everyone's like trying to calm me down, and I started screaming at this man. So one of my coworkers goes, you can't talk like that to a girl. And he says something back, something about how I'm not a girl, I'm a rude person, like I don't classify as a woman, I guess. Like, just because I told you to move doesn't take my vagina away. And I start yelling at him. I'm like, you can't talk to me like that. Like, who do you think you are? And he's getting in my face. And I'm like, oh my God. Bark more than I can bite. And then security comes, and him and security start going at it. And then my supervisor grabs me and takes me away from the desk because I started crying. Because I have really bad anxiety. I got really flustered. It was just a bad situation. But I was just like, whoa. That was insane. So I have tons of more stories. If you're interested in them, leave a comment below. Thumbs up, subscribe. Okay, bye.